Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My cousin Victoria, 28 female, and I, 29 female, grew up playing with these miniature collectible animal figurines from a toy line called My Littlest Pet Shop. The toys are still made today, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard of them before. Back when we were kids, the toys had a significantly different design to them. Between the two of us, at that point in time, Victoria and I had to have collected at least 150 of these things. She had more than me, but not by much. We had so many of them that we often traded them, giving each other the ugly ones that we got as Christmas gifts, etc. This was all 20 years ago, and it had taken her and I several years at the time to grow that collection into what it was, and it undoubtedly cost our extended families an absurd amount of money. I never considered trashing any of those toys, because I knew one day I wanted kids and I wanted to pass all my best stuff along to them. This included all my old Bratz dolls, my video games, and the LPS, of course. I have an almost 3-year-old daughter currently, who just recently inherited the majority of my old toys, because we've finally reached the point where she doesn't stick everything in her mouth, and I was so excited to see her playing with them that I shared a photo of it on Facebook last week. My cousin Victoria commented on the photo at some point that evening and said, "LOL, miss playing those things with you. When can I come see you and that baby?" My dumbass was thrilled by that. I thought she wanted to connect with my daughter and I, so I made plans with her to come visit Friday. Victoria and I hung out that entire night, talking about our childhood together and playing with my daughter together. She socialized with my fiancé. She even had dinner with us. I left that encounter feeling happy and closer with her than I'd felt in years, as we had naturally drifted apart when I left for college a decade ago. I thought this night would help bring her and I back to that level of closeness. I thought she had felt that way too. I tried reaching out to her the next day, Saturday, asking when I could see her again, and she said, "My work schedule is full this week. I'll let you know when I'm free." So I left her be, anticipating she would do just that. 2 days ago, I saw a group on Facebook being suggested to me for buying and selling LPS, and I saw Victoria was a member, so I decided to join it based on that. I assumed she wanted to buy some for herself, maybe since playing with them again brought back those memories. That was my first thought. I quickly realized how much money people were asking for these things used in the group, and I knew Victoria was struggling heavily with student debt. She's a nurse, so I was curious if she was there hoping to find a deal or what. It was because of this group that I realized how seriously people still take collecting these toys. I educated myself a lot that morning. Original generation toys are the most sought after, and any animals with purple eyes are considered very rare. Almost every toy in my collection was an original generation, and it felt kinda cool having something that many would pay tons of money to have. It didn't tempt me to sell them. I kept them all these years so my kid could have them. I wasn't going to sell them, but it was still interesting going through the high price list and seeing how many I actually had. As I'm scrolling through this group and beginning to pull out the toys from the box I keep them in, I see the post. Victoria's post. $250 for a cat. My cat. It has a distinctive mark on the eye, where the manufacturer messed up the paint, so I knew it was the exact same cat from my collection. Even if the photo was grainy, it was clearly mine. Between us, there was only one of this particular cat. This bee literally stole it from my house, tucked it away in her purse, and was trying to sell it behind my back without mentioning anything about it. When Victoria and I were just starting our collections, that cat was one of her first ones, and she hated it. It doesn't have a bobblehead, and its tongue sticks out as a feature. She gave me that cat when we were kids, and she never once asked for it back. And I kept it that entire time, because, like I said, she hated it. So it became mine. Her post said, "Found my old cat and know someone wants him." No low balls, please. I honestly thought seeing red was a figure of speech. I felt so used, so betrayed. I knew then that she didn't actually give a shit about our relationship at all, and saw an opportunity to earn money when she saw that picture I shared. I wanted to call her and scream, but instead, I left the Facebook group and called my fiancé. I was actually crying. I know that's silly crying over a toy, but she was so shady about absolutely all of it. I would have talked to her and literally given it to her if she'd been forthright. If she'd said, "I was wondering if I could have that cat back because I'm really struggling financially and could really use the money," I would have told her yes without hesitation, but she didn't. She pulled one over on me, and I absolutely was not going to let it go. I was going to get her back in some way. I just wasn't sure how. I knew she was not aware that I knew of her actions yet, and I knew in my heart she was going to keep this secret the rest of her life if she had never been caught. Victoria was a pathological liar when we were kids, and it's clear to me she never outgrew it. My fiancé suggested to me over the phone about driving over to her house and simply asking for it back. But knowing her, she'd say something like, "Oh, it's already gone, sorry," when in reality, it's just hidden somewhere away from me until she makes the sale. Remember when I said my cousin is a nurse? Well, she's a night shift nurse, and she works every weeknight. I know this is her schedule, because she told me as much when she came to visit. So I decided to just wait. Wait until I knew for certain she was at work. Which was last night. I went to her parents' house, she lives with them, and told them honestly that Victoria had something of mine, and I needed to grab it real quick. My aunt and uncle had no problem letting me go to Victoria's room, which told me they didn't know about the situation with the toy. I go to her room, and sitting in a pile on her desk beside shipping packages are several LPS toys she'd taken from my home. Not just the cat. She took 6. Those specific toys may have initially belonged to her, but they were mine. She gave them to me, and I was the one who decided not to trash them over the years. I grabbed every single one of them and stuck them in my purse, hugged my aunt and uncle goodbye, then went to my car. I took a picture with them in my hand, sent it to her, then added, "You're not my family if you think stealing from me is okay. You are not welcome at my house again." I cried for a minute, then collected myself before driving home. I called my fiancé on the way, and he told me he was so proud of me for standing up for myself. I didn't hear from Victoria the entire night, and the anticipation made me such an anxious mess that I couldn't even sleep really. I knew Victoria was going to be off the clock at 5 a.m., and only then would she see my text. The phone buzzing is what woke our whole family this morning. The buzzing wouldn't stop, so I turned my phone off, and everyone went back to sleep. I honestly wish I'd gotten up this morning to address things, because now her brothers and parents are texting me. They're calling me a thief and saying, "How could you manipulate us like that yesterday?" I didn't manipulate anyone. I told them she had something of mine because she did. She's telling me she's taking me to small claims court over this because apparently someone already bought it and now she has to refund them. Advice, please? I don't have any more energy to deal with this today. I just want to shut down mentally. Does she have an actual case against me in small claims if there are pictures of her as a kid playing with these? Wow. Just wow. Not the a-hole by a mile. And honestly, I think OP handled this better than most people would have. This wasn't about a toy. This was about intent. Victoria didn't just take a trip down memory lane. She scoped out OP's home like it was a thrift shop, stole from OP, and tried to profit from it while pretending to reconnect. That's manipulative, deceitful, and shows zero respect for OP's trust or relationship. The fact that she didn't just ask OP for the cat, knowing full well how much it meant to OP, tells OP everything she needs to know about where OP stands with her. And her family defending her. Classic deflection. They're mad they were lied to, and instead of holding her accountable, they're coming for EOP because it's easier than facing her dishonesty. As for small claims court, please. She stole OP's property. OP recovered it. If she wants to walk into a courtroom and admit she took someone else's belongings and tried to sell them for profit, OP needs to let her. The receipts, literally and figuratively, are all in OP's favor. And now let's hear community's opinion. So they were fine with her stealing. You taking back your property is where they draw the line. Go no contact with all of them. She's bluffing about small claims court. Tell her you are happy to file a police report. I would block her and anyone that agrees with her. You have the photos of you and your daughter playing with them. Proof she came over after seeing that photo. You should find out when she created the account to sell the stuff or first put them for sale. It may show it was all after seeing the photos and going to dinner. Update. It took me a while to come back and write this, because it took me a while to respond to my family members' bombardment. I don't like confrontation, but the mama bear in me overrides that. And as many of you in the comments pointed out, she didn't just steal from me, she stole from my baby. And like many of you also commented and suggested, I sent a link for the original thread to my aunt, uncle, and their sons, and simply told them she was manipulating all of them, and it was their choice whether or not to believe me. And my cousins, knowing their sister, jumped on my side without hesitation. My aunt's texts after reading the post: Katie, I'm horrified and sick beyond belief over this. I'm so sorry. Believe me, she's going to be sorry too. I should check to see if her degree is even real. No level is too low apparently when it comes to lying to family. I love my aunt and had a feeling she'd listen. Honestly, the rift between my aunt and Victoria began when I started telling said aunt everything Victoria was lying about while we were still kids. It made her parents crack down, and looking at it now, it's why she resents me and never cared to fix this. She never considered growing or getting better as a human being. She just became a better liar, and it's gross. Victoria, you're gross. Her first text to me after seeing my photo: I already sold it, and you know I've been struggling financially. Like, I literally sat there and told you how hard my life has been all night, and you could have offered to give them back to me. I sat there hoping you would, but you'll be ducking stingy and keep $1 million as of these things that your daughter is just going to lose. Like, be so real right now. You're going to make a case out of 6 when you have like 50. Her second text: you know they're mine, and you're being a B. Her third text: you never offered to give them back over the years, and I thought maybe you had finally matured after all this time. Having a kid now didn't change anything. Her fourth text: you would have said no if I'd asked too, because that's just the kind of person you are. That was just so unnecessarily hateful and untrue, and stung probably the most of all her texts. Her final text: court can settle. This is you really want to say we aren't family anymore. I understand that she's embarrassed she's been caught. It's why she's hostile. Maybe a small part is her devastation about the ruined relationship, but who knows? My aunt texted this morning and invited me and my daughter over for Monday afternoon and promised Victoria won't be there. She wants to discuss all of this in person. I don't know what is going to happen to Victoria, but I should know by then. Edit. Wow, I forgot to add her last text after her family flipped. She only sent one. All you've ever done is ruin my life. I will respond to her eventually. I'll include it if you guys actually want an update. Update 2. This final update is being shared with my uncle's blessing, because a lot of wild details have been revealed to me about kleptoria, and now I'm even more furious on my aunt and uncle's behalf. My daughter and I followed up with my aunt like she requested, and went to their house. My family is tight-knit. This wasn't unusual for them to ask me over, like some of you were worrying about in the comments. I visit extended family a lot. My uncle hugged my daughter and I when we arrived, and told us we were always welcome over, and he was sorry. They have grandkids from their eldest son, so my daughter was able to play with toys and watch Bluey over there while we talked. First, we discussed the lies she initially told them all. Her claim was I had stolen these toys behind her back when we were kids, and denied it for years, only for her to see them again with the rest of my other toys in the photos I shared on Facebook. She told them I refused to return the toys, and it was her right to take back stolen property. My uncle then said that statement was pretty ironic, considering how pissed she is that I've reclaimed my stolen property. I asked them how they knew I was the one being honest, and they told me when she was confronted about the Reddit post, she went ballistic. Victoria is notorious for becoming hostile when she's caught being dishonest, and they said her reaction was all the proof they needed. I asked how Victoria was doing. Both of them hesitated at that, like they were deciding who was going to tell the story. My aunt ended up leaving the living room and went to make food. He told me she was getting kicked out, but it wasn't because of this. This was just the final straw for them, and they were letting the rest of the family know what kind of thief she really was. It turns out, Victoria stole a few thousand from my aunt and uncle first. In her final years at college, as my uncle explained it, Victoria wanted people to think she was from a rich family that could afford her tuition as well as vacation over the summer, which, at that point, she had 1 year left. I remember the photos on Facebook from this trip. She went with 3 girls that I don't think even talk to her anymore, and her ex-boyfriend. A lot of money that was meant for college books, boarding, food, etc., was being spent on this boy and other ridiculousness so she could continue this rich person lie. And she was going to keep this lie to herself if they hadn't begun asking questions about the discrepancies. They told her she could live with them to save her money, so that she could pay them back faster. They made it clear they were going to hold her to it. They weren't going to let her party like she was a free woman until she paid them back. And if she wanted to fix the relationship between them, this was her only option. She stole from me because she was trying to get back to the party lifestyle faster. My aunt came back into the room and asked, "She hasn't texted you, has she? You have every right to press charges against her for this." I told her if she had a brain, she would stop digging herself deeper and to leave you alone. Honestly, that made me cry again. I told them I was sorry about all the stress, and that I haven't been sleeping well all week because of this. That I never meant for them to get dragged into it, or for it to turn into something like this. It was a therapeutic visit, and I'm glad we cleared the air, but hearing that she's being kicked out doesn't make me feel good after all of this. I just hope she can finally learn and grow after all of this. A life full of burnt bridges sounds pretty lonely to me. My mom died 14 months ago, and shit's been tough since. I, 16 female, always had a great relationship with my dad before. But lately it's been pretty awful. 4 months ago my dad brought this woman home, told me she was his girlfriend, and that she was pregnant and moving in with us. This was 9 months after my mom died. I didn't really know what to say at first. He was scrambling to say stuff, but I don't really remember what he said. But when I did speak, I was bitter, and I told him I guess he found a great way to tell me he never loved my mom and was over her. I said that because he had always talked about people moving on within like 2 years of their husband or wife dying, as never really loving them and got over them super fast. He'd say that loving someone and being ready to move on would take a much longer time. He said he saw it in family and family friends who'd been through the loss. He said the people who moved on super fast were disrespectful, especially when they had kids who had lost a parent and needed to be supported and their parents' memory preserved. So I took it really hard when Dad was admitting he'd knocked someone up 7 months after my mom died. They'd started screwing each other 5 months after Mom died. Which is something I hate thinking about, but he admitted it. His girlfriend got extremely pissed off when I was saying that stuff to Dad about him not loving Mom. She took offense that I was focusing on that, instead of on the news of a baby and greeting her. I ignored her and kept telling my dad what I thought, and she lost it and said I should be excited about the baby. She said Mom was dead, and Dad had a right to a life after her. She said the baby didn't deserve this shit. She moved in that day, and Dad spent days trying to make me okay and to apologize for it all happening so fast. His girlfriend didn't want me there and said I needed to leave if I wouldn't welcome her and celebrate the baby. Dad said no, but I told him I wanted to go. He tried to fight it, but I asked him if he ever wanted a relationship with me, because if he did, it would not happen if I was forced to live with her. I moved in with my grandparents. Dad comes to see me multiple times a week. He's talked me into going to the house for dinner a couple of times, but me and his girlfriend do not like each other. She's extra bitter that Dad's so focused on making our relationship work instead of on her and the baby. The last time I saw her was a month ago, and she told me I was disgusting for not getting over myself and warming up to the baby who's coming. Whether I like it or not, she was also pissed that I wouldn't pick something up for her when she dropped it. Last Tuesday I got a text from her. Don't have her number, but she said who she was. Telling me she needed me to go over there now, because she left her key in the house and got locked outside, and she was in pain and having some bleeding and was supposed to rest. I still have a key to the house, and Dad was still at work. I replied fuck off, and I didn't go to help her. I blocked her number too. After that, she used Dad's phone to leave a voicemail yelling at me and calling me names for leaving her outside when she's 7 months pregnant. I ignored it, and Dad told me she just waited in the car until he got home. But she texted me in the middle of the night from Dad's phone calling me a POS. My dad knows about it, and he apologized. He's still trying to make this all okay with me, but he also hopes we can all get along and be a family. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She basically told you, your mom died. Big whoop. Get over it. And expected you to be giddy for her and her pregnancy, not even a full year after she died. Nah, stay away from her. But you and your dad need counseling before the relationship gets irreparably damaged. She's just pissed that you aren't going to be her built-in maid and babysitter. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She has verbally attacked you from day one. You were right to move out. You were right to block her. And frankly, I realized Dad's way of getting over his grief was, checks notes, screwing a younger woman within a few months of your mom's death, knocking her up, tolerating her belligerent treatment of his grieving daughter, moving her in, and losing his daughter. It wasn't your job to help someone who has been horrifically rude to you. He sucks. I, 16 male, live with my dad, 38 male, and my little brother, 10 male. Our mom died when I was 11, cancer. I remember everything. My brother barely does. For a long time after she died, her stuff just stayed where it was. Her mug stayed in the cupboard, her slippers beside the bed, family photos everywhere. It felt like she was still around in some way. Then Katie, 29F, started coming around. It was slow at first, just helping out with stuff. Then one day she was living here. Then she married my dad. No one really asked how I felt about any of it. My brother got obsessed with her from the start. Like, straight up started calling her mom without even thinking about it. They play Switch together, build Lego sets she buys for him randomly, and she takes him everywhere. She calls him her boy and tells everyone how close they are. I'm not even mad that he likes her, but sometimes it feels like he's forgotten mom completely. And it pisses me off how easy that seems to be for him. Like I'm the only one who cares anymore. Then stuff started disappearing. First little things. Mom's mug and slippers. Then the framed picture of us on the beach we took when I was 10 that used to sit by the stairs. One day I realized there wasn't a single picture of her left in the living room. Then she changed everything in the house that my mom bought. Furniture. Even repainted the whole house to colors she likes. She just started putting up more of herself everywhere, like slowly replacing my mom. About a year ago, my dad went out of town for work. Katie had some friends over. They brought wine and got drunk. I stayed to keep an eye on my little brother that was in the house and hanging around them. Then they started making weird comments. Stuff like, "You've got a hot stepmom. That's gotta be weird for a teenage boy." And, "Betty walks in on stuff." Katie told them to knock it off, but they laughed her off and kept going. I felt gross. Later she came to my door and apologized, but also told me I need to learn to loosen up. Like I was the one making it awkward. 3 days ago my brother had a school project to make a family timeline. I got home and saw it on the table. It was all pictures of him and Katie, a few of me and my dad, but nothing of mom. Not even a mention. I asked him why, and he said Katie told him to keep it focused on happy stuff, and who's here now? I told my dad that night. Just said I thought it was messed up. That it felt like Katie was trying to erase mom. He said he'd talk to her. Next morning, Katie packed a bag and left. Said she needed space, and she's staying at her sister's house for a while. She hugged my brother and left without saying anything to me. Now my brother won't talk to me because I always try to ruin stuff. Maybe I do. But I don't want to forget my mom just because Katie wants to pretend she was never here. Am I the a-hole? This is classic cry-bully behavior. Oh, Pete, any idea what was said between the two of them? Your father is being cry-bullied and manipulated by a control-freak narcissist. Not the a-hole. Firstly, I'm really sorry you lost your mom, and apparently haven't been getting much support from your dad. Secondly, I'm really sorry you're dealing with this. I'm guessing it's harder for you to put blame on him, but your dad is just as guilty as Katie for allowing your mom to be erased. He should be stepping in with your brother on this and taking more steps to ensure that one. Your brother remembers his mom, and 2, Katie isn't manipulating him. Your dad should also be ensuring that your brother understands you are not to blame for anything that happens between him and Katie. Not the a-hole. You were right with how you handled it. But I will give this advice. You seem angry at your brother, and he is not the a-hole either. He is too young to remember.